the interesting thing was that Michael Carreras had decided, again, you find this with Carreras, that he was taking bold streaks with directors. He decided to hire Monte Hellman.
Initially, they were going to shoot Shatter with Monte Hellman directing. He said on the commentary on an old DVD that he thinks they hired him, number one, because his agent was recommending to Michael Carreras and Hammer, and he had also worked in Hong Kong several times. He'd been over there even recently to set up a film that didn't get made. And he had done a pretty good movie called Two Lane Blacktop with his girlfriend time, Laurie Bird, and Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys. And he went over there, they started shooting. Virtually everything was shot on location. So Whitman didn't even remember shooting on sound stages. The problem was the Shaw Brothers crews would go 24 hours straight. They'd be working on 3 films at once. And here was Monte Hellman and Stuart Whitman at 8 o'clock in the morning waiting for things to start, and the crew might show up to noon or 1 o'clock and they're half asleep. And Whitman said, I'm afraid I party too much, so sometimes I wasn't too good afternoon as far as filming and that. And Hellman kept getting farther and farther behind on the schedule. And finally, Michael Carreras, the guy who wrote it the script was Don Houghton, but he'd gotten bounced off the film because they could not keep him on budget and on schedule. Michael Carreras was trying to do it. He fired Hellman, and he said, it was all my fault. I'm the one who picked the story, I picked the director, I picked the star, and it all went to shit. And then he found out the same thing that Hellman was running into, which was they weren't getting the crews.
Monte Hellman had taken up with someone called Laurie Bird, who was quite a famous and sad figure of the time. She was a lovely girl. I met her briefly when I interviewed Hellman. You couldn't meet Hellman without meeting Laurie Bird. They'd come together on Two Lane Blacktop, which was probably Hellman's best film. Great film. She'd played the girl in it. The thing about Laurie Bird was, when Shatter was made and she came along with Monte Hellman, just to help him or assist him or be there, she was 21, but she looked 15. She had a smiley, girly face, and she was very sweet in a way, but she behaved like a 15-year-old. She certainly, when I interviewed Monte Hellman, she behaved like a 15-year-old during the interview. She kind of hummed and sort of walked around the room and looked at things and then asked us questions. She was very sweet, but she had a tragic later life. She took up with Art Garfunkel and then took an overdose in his apartment. That was about 7 years after Shatter. Now, Michael Carreras thought that Laurie Bird was directing Shatter. This I doubt. In other words, that Monte Hellman was deferring to her. I doubt that. I don't think it's very likely. I think it's much more likely that Laurie Bird was just being Laurie Bird, hanging around in the back, making comments, generally putting her nose in things in her rather sweet way. And I suspect, though, it would drive everyone else mad, and it probably drove Michael Carreras mad. So Hellman is fired 2 weeks into the production.
His name is Taipa. He thinks that guns are obscene and indelicate things.
Hellman was a very interesting director, And I reckon he probably, though, shot 66% of it. That's what people estimate. Because it was made at the end of 73, the last 2 weeks of the year, and then the next 2 weeks of the year. There really wasn't much time once he was fired for Michael to do very much. But I gather, in any case, he'd shot with the principals. He'd shot with Cushing, who Hellman said was wonderful and really loved. And he'd shot with the other main actors. And I think, therefore, Michael can't have done all that much as a director in there. I'm not sure. It's not clear exactly what he made. So we're left with this extraordinarily curious film. It is interesting and curious as a film. It's sophisticated in some ways. In other ways, it's rather primitive.